I think that the conference is fantastic because it brings together the leaders in the field, and we listen to generally unpublished research and cutting-edge results that really are driving the field forward.
And it's not just the opportunity to see what people are doing, listen to them present their work. There's a lot of networking that goes on, so you go away feeling sort of invigorated and that there are new collaborations to be done and that you're working sort of towards the future and what more can be done. It's a fantastic opportunity.
The value of the conference is exchange between scientists, clinicians, patients, patient advocacy organizations, and all people who are stakeholders in EB research.
What we've seen at this conference are some very exciting presentations. We're learning that science is moving forward, but more specifically, we're seeing great advances in things like gene technology, gene transfer, gene editing, gene fixing of cells, and moving those forward not just from the lab, but into clinical trials. So everybody talks about translational research and trying to prepare basic science into something that's going to help patients. But what we're learning at this conference is we've gone way beyond that. We're actually doing clinical trials that are testing new therapies to see whether they're safe and maybe effective, and then together we can take forward into bigger clinical trials that really do make a difference for people living with EB.
I like conferences where you focus on a particular disease because you bring together the clinicians, the researchers, the patients, and usually people from the industry who are all aiming to improve the quality of life of the patients, rather than a meeting that focuses on all sorts of other skin conditions that you're not particularly focused on yourself. And so it's meetings like this where you get to collaborate with colleagues that live all over the place that you wouldn't otherwise easily get to see, and usually something really good comes out of it.
It allows researchers like me to meet colleagues who have been working on treatment for EB for many years, and it helps us keeping us informed on the latest results, updating our results between the different teams. And it also fosters and facilitates new collaborations.
It's great to see so many great minds in one place that is so dedicated to finding treatments for people with EB, and it gives you a real sense that you're getting somewhere and you're achieving something, and we are getting there. We are moving along. It's a reality now. It's not just a dream anymore.
It is my first EB research conference, and it has been very interesting, of course very scientific, and not being a doctor doesn't mean that you don't understand, because I think that we can get the meaning of what has been discussed.
Well, I've been to a lot of different conferences, and I think what makes this one more special than some of the other ones that I've been to is that it really allows for a collaborative environment and opportunities for some very distinguished professors from all over the world and researchers to collaborate further to push the needle forward on the research.
The value of this is being able to bring a lot of researchers and clinicians together and look at all the different viewpoints and information about this field. It's so vast, and there's so many different facets to it. And this kind of a meeting brings it all together, which is really valuable.
So what I find extremely interesting and also extremely relevant is actually the interaction not only between the scientists, because many of the science you've heard in some form somewhere else, but actually the whole the whole also perspective of patients and also the care. And I think this is very, very important because we tend to forget that a little bit as scientists.
One of the main things that researchers like me can do at a conference like this is firstly listen. Listen to people with EB, work out what's going on, what are the priorities, what do we really need to do? And I think scientists do tend to get fixed on trying to cure EB, and that's very important. But one of the things conferences like this tell us is what are the priorities in research? And one of those priorities is to deal with symptoms. That's what people living with EB tell us. So we're learning that we've got to do something much more immediate for things like itch and pain and quality of life, and things that generally affect people's day-to-day existence with EB. So that's a big education for me. By all means, do the science, make it into clinical trials, but think about today as well as tomorrow.
And the real value is that the whole EB community comes together in one place and updates each other on what is been developing over the last 3 years, since this happens every 3 years. And it's so exciting to see that huge steps have been made every 3 years. So it's where you have to be if you're in EB.